The Boston Celtics walked into Monday night hoping to stop the bleeding, reset the narrative, and remind everyone why they've been one of the most respected teams in the Eastern Conference this season. Instead, they walked out of the building with something far more uncomfortable than a loss. They walked out with a brutal reality check. A Pascal Siakam game winner sealed a 108-106 defeat at the hands of the Indiana Pacers, marking Boston's second straight loss and exposing several cracks that had been easy to ignore while things were going well. This wasn't just another close game that didn't break the Celtics' way. It was the kind of night that forces a team to look in the mirror and confront some uncomfortable truths about who they are, who they rely on, and what happens when key pieces are missing. From the opening tip, it was clear this game was going to be a grind. The Pacers and Celtics have seen a lot of each other recently, and familiarity has bred something close to hostility. Every possession felt contested, every shot mattered, and neither team was willing to give an inch. But as the game unfolded, one trend that has haunted Boston in recent matchups against Indiana showed up again in a big way. The Pacers simply refused to miss from beyond the arc when it mattered most. This was the third meeting between these teams in less than a month, and for the third time, Indiana found a shooting rhythm that bordered on ridiculous. Early on, it didn't look like that would be the case. The Pacers opened the game ice cold from three, missing 5 of their first 6 attempts. Boston had opportunities to capitalize, to build a cushion, to put pressure on a team that was struggling to find its range. As has so often been the case this season, missed opportunities came back to haunt them. The second quarter changed everything. Indiana flipped a switch and suddenly every clean look from deep felt automatic. 7 made threes on 9 attempts in a single quarter is the kind of shooting run that can break a game wide open. And even though Boston managed to hang around, the damage was real. By the final buzzer, the Pacers had knocked down 16 of their 37 three-point attempts, good for 43% from long range. Against most teams, that level of shooting is enough to decide the outcome all by itself. Against a Celtics team missing its most stabilizing presence, it proved decisive. And that brings us to the elephant in the room. Jaylen Brown did not play in this game, marking the third time this season the Celtics have taken the floor without him. On paper, the absence of one player should not completely derail a team with championship aspirations. In reality, it revealed just how central Brown has become to everything Boston does. This game did not just suggest that Jaylen Brown is important to the Celtics. It screamed it. Every former NBA player will tell you that when a star is out, shots don't disappear. They get redistributed. Someone always steps into the vacuum. On nights like this, players like Peyton Pritchard know what time it is. More touches, more responsibility, more chances to make something happen. And to his credit, Pritchard embraced the opportunity. He didn't explode out of the gate, but as the game settled into its rhythm, he found his moment. In the third quarter, Pritchard took over stretches of the offense, scoring 11 of his 23 points and giving Boston a much-needed spark. His confidence was evident, his shot selection aggressive but controlled, and for a brief window, it looked like he might will the Celtics back into control of the game. Nights like these are why Pritchard has carved out a meaningful role in Boston's rotation. He thrives on opportunity, and he's not afraid of the spotlight. But as impressive as individual performances were, they could not mask the larger issue. Without Jaylen Brown, the Celtics' margin for error shrinks dramatically. Brown is not just another scorer in the lineup. He is the engine that keeps the offense organized when things get chaotic. He is the player who absorbs defensive pressure, creates advantages, and calms the team when possessions start to spiral. That absence was never more obvious than in the opening half of the third quarter. Boston came out of halftime looking disjointed, tentative, and unsure of where their offense was supposed to come from. It took more than 4 minutes for them to score their first basket of the half, a two-handed dunk from Neemias Queta that felt more like a release of frustration than the start of a run. Even after that, the Celtics struggled to find any rhythm. Missed shots piled up, turnovers crept in. Offensive possessions felt rushed and unstructured. This is where Jaylen Brown's value truly shows itself. He doesn't just score points, he provides structure. He gives the Celtics a reliable option when plays break down. He has been the emotional and tactical stabilizer throughout the season, especially during stretches when other stars have been unavailable. Without him, Boston looked vulnerable in a way that contenders simply cannot afford to be. The numbers back it up. Brown is in the middle of the best season of his career, both in terms of production and impact. His scoring efficiency, playmaking growth, and defensive engagement have elevated him from all-star to legitimate franchise cornerstone. Boston's early season success has been built on his consistency, his availability, and his ability to set the tone on both ends of the floor. Take that away, and suddenly the Celtics feel far more mortal. Still, not everything from this game was discouraging. One of the bright spots came from Anthony Simons, who continues to play some of his best basketball since joining the Celtics. Over the past few weeks, Simons has looked increasingly comfortable in his role off the bench, and Monday night was another strong example of his growing confidence. Much like Pritchard, Simons found his rhythm during a critical stretch of the game. While Indiana was lighting up the scoreboard from 3 in the second quarter, Simons kept Boston afloat. 12 of his 16 points came during that stretch, and they were badly needed. He showcased the full range of his offensive skill set, attacking off the dribble, knocking down pull-up jumpers, and creating space with step-backs that forced defenders to respect him. Simons' ability to score in bunches gives Boston a valuable weapon, especially when the offense stalls. But even his best moments on this night highlighted a deeper truth. As important as bench scoring and role players are, there is no true substitute for a star who controls the game at the highest level. Simons can provide sparks. Pritchard can seize opportunities, but neither can replicate the steadying presence that Jaylen Brown brings when the Celtics need a bucket, a stop, or simply a sense of order. As the final minutes ticked away, the game tightened into the kind of possession-by-possession battle that defines close NBA contests. Both teams executed. Both teams made mistakes. And when the moment came, it was Pascal Siakam who delivered the decisive blow, knocking down the game winner and silencing the crowd. For Boston, it was a painful way to lose, not just because of the shot itself, but because of what the game revealed. This loss was not about effort. It was not about coaching. It was not even about bad luck. It was about dependency. The Celtics are a good team without Jaylen Brown, but they are not the same team. They are more fragile, more predictable, more vulnerable to long-scoring droughts and momentum swings. That reality cannot be ignored. If there is a silver lining, it is that lessons like these are far more valuable in January than they are in May. Boston now has clear evidence of where their pressure points lie. They know exactly how much they rely on Brown, and they know how quickly things can unravel without him. That knowledge can shape rotations, inform strategic adjustments, and reinforce just how crucial it is to protect and maximize their most important players. The season is long. One loss does not define a contender, but moments like this linger. They stick with teams. They influence decisions. And they remind everyone involved that talent alone is not enough. Availability, stability, and leadership matter just as much. The Celtics will have opportunities to respond. They will have chances to prove that this game was an exception, not a warning sign. But moving forward, one thing is no longer up for debate. Jaylen Brown is not just important to the Celtics, he is essential. If you enjoyed this deep breakdown of what really went wrong for the Celtics and what it means for their season moving forward, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss analysis like this. Let me know in the comments whether you think Boston can survive stretches without Jaylen Brown, or if this game proves just how irreplaceable he truly is.